Hello students, welcome to Ashish Polala classes. Today in the present lecture of Indian Constitution, I am going to discuss with you the next salient feature of Indian Constitution. In this salient feature of Indian Constitution, I will discuss with you about emergency provisions and preventive detention. So let us start from emergency provisions. Why in our Indian constitution there is need of emergency provisions? The answer is very simple. To meet an extraordinary situations effectively, like war, external aggression, financial instability, the Indian constitution contains the detailed provisions of emergency. In India, three types of emergencies can be imposed by the central government, and these three types of emergency are national emergency, which is contained in Article 352 of Indian Constitution. The second emergency is the state emergency. The provisions in respect of state emergency is contained in Article 356 of Indian Constitution. And third category of emergency is the financial emergency. The provisions in relation to financial emergency is given under Article 360 of Indian Constitution. As far as in our India, the national emergency and state emergencies are concerned, then number of times these two emergencies are imposed by the central government in India, whereas the third type of emergency, which is the financial emergency, has never been imposed in India. Although in the year 1991, there was a situation when the central government was thinking to impose the financial emergency in India, but with the efforts of the then finance minister Sardar Manmohan Singh, the situation of financial problem has been tackled by the central government very effectively, and no financial emergency was imposed during that time period. So let us discuss when there is need to impose the national emergency. The central government has the power to impose the national emergency on the ground of war, or on the ground of external aggression, or on the ground of armed rebellion. Whereas state emergency, which is also known as rule of president, is imposed by the central government on the ground when there is failure of constitutional machinery in the state. That means to say, when the constitutional machinery in the state is not doing its function effectively, at that time the president rule can be imposed in the state. Or when there is failure to comply with the directions of the central government by the state government, even then the state emergency can be imposed by the central government in the state. Whereas the provisions of financial emergency contains that the financial emergency is imposed on the ground of threat to the financial stability or credit of India. That means to say, when there is threat that the financial stability of Indian government will be in danger, or credit of India will be in danger, then financial emergency can be imposed in India, in which the expenses will be cut off. Okay, so these are the three emergencies. We will discuss about these emergencies in detail when we start the chapter of emergency provisions of Constitution in our series. What will happen during an emergency? During an emergency, the central government becomes powerful in comparison to the state government, and the state government goes into the total control of the central government. That means to say, during the operation of emergency, the federal structure in which there is division of power between the central and state government becomes suspended, and it converts the federal structure into a unitary one in which central government become powerful and state government become powerless, and the division of function between the center and state government becomes suspended during the operation of emergency. The last salient feature of Indian constitution is that in our Indian constitution there is also many provisions in respect of preventive detention. What is the meaning of preventive detention? Under preventive detention, a person is detained by the state not for the reason that he has committed the crime, but he has been detained for the security purpose by the state. Why there is the provision of preventive detention in our Indian constitution? So the answer is very clear. In our Indian constitution, number of freedoms has been given by way of fundamental as well as constitutional legal rights to the individuals, and there is threat that any antisocial elements can abuse these freedoms. So in order to prevent any abuse of freedom by any antisocial elements, the Indian constitution contains a unique feature in the form of preventive detention. The provisions of preventive detention empower the state to enact a law providing for preventive detention of persons even during peacetime, even when there is no war, and these preventive detention is made for reasons which is connected with the defense, foreign affairs, security of state, maintenance of public order, or maintenance of supplies and services which are essential to the community. So this is something about this present lecture, and we have successfully completed the topic of salient feature of Indian constitution by this video. In the next video, I will start the constitutional history of India. So stay in touch with me and subscribe my channel. And if you want to take the notes, then the notes of Indian constitution which are prepared by me are available at ashishpolalaclasses.blogspot.com. Thank you very much.